Hey there. Until I dressed up for this occasion, got the old Demon Slayer shirt on. It's for the anime. But nonetheless, you know how we all have our theories, right? And we try to go with the most logical one that would make sense. Maybe this goes somewhere in between what these people think and goes more for what God says in the Bible, right? So, this is kind of how I would see the makeout of a very neat universe in the future, and one that I believe exists right now, you know? So, this is my interpretation of that, and it's kind of artistic, so, you just want to follow along and see somebody else's theory for a change that goes with the Bible and also comes from the idea or theory of the Bible, you know, of what God says. So, okay, we're going to start out with a blank piece of paper, of course. Say you created some beings, right? And you decided to put them kind of right here in the middle to test them out, right? And see what's going on. Everybody blends together. And that place right there we can call Earth, right? Say we go out another ring out here. There's a place in the Bible called the gate of the Leviathan. I'm just going to put gate there for short, right? But on this earth here, I don't know what's up with that light flashing like that. That's freaky. But on this earth here is strange. There's no lights in the room flashing like that. Alrighty then. There is another gate, and some people call this the ice wall or Antarctica. Right? And that gate goes right there. Antarctica. And these are all of our continents that we know of, right there in the middle. And say there's like a dome. Ooh, that's some great lighting there. Anyway, and there's another circle. Hopefully I didn't recording that way, because that would be really strange. Like I said, there's no lights going on and off in the room. And then there's another gate outside that one. You say where there's more continents and other creatures that live there, and maybe, you know, say those giants that came actually went through this gate when Noah's Earth, like, it flooded right here. And where did all that water come from? Say there's another atmosphere up here called the firmament. Well, all the stars and the moon and the sun circle around out here. But the firmament, let's just call it the upper water. But that's what the firmament is, right? And then through the earth, there's 12 gates to heaven, and there's 12 gates to hell. So there's 12 entrances, right? And then through the earth, you'll find a gigantic ocean that's bigger than all these right here, except for the upper ocean gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And till it goes all the way to the upper heavens. And then say God is at the very top. Would you say Abba of all lights? And who is God? It says in the Holy Bible, God is love. So, God is love. You'd say he would be at the very, very top, and then you'd have like 7 upper heavens, right? You'd have the firmament above our earth, but you'd also have, you know, that dome kind of thing there with the stars and everything trapped in there and everything in like its little bubble place. But yet the gates that can go through to the planets, right? And other people may call them other dimensions, but they're really all just different beings out here. And some of them are, you know, from the flood, like I said. Some of them are from those fallen angels. Some of them are their offspring that went outside the gate. And it's the Leviathan's gate. Let's say like a sea dragon that comes out here. You know? And first you see Antarctica, then you see the gate out there, then you see more. And then you have to remember Noah's Ark when it flooded, and this beautiful dove that you see here has actually, you know, saved mankind. And that's no joke. That's very true. Well, little applause for you there, left of. So the toroidal spheres of existence between, you know, say like the upper heavens God, the 12 gates, reason why you might see, what would they say, like a highway kind of situation, or things going on, with things traveling through here, or checking out of you and going through time warps and spheres, because in certain dimensions, which some of those fallen creatures that, you know, they're not aliens, everything's kind of from here, been here thousands of years more than humans. Who did God create first? The angels, right? Yep. And so they were here, and you know, God threw them down the darkness. They ended up mating with all the animals and everything. That's where the you know, hybrids came from back in the day. The mermaids, the bulls, minotaurs, things like that. So, but up here, above, there's a thing called the behemoth, and the Leviathan right there is like the female version of the male behemoth. Something about the waters above. So, and the earth, there's 12 tribes of Israel, there's 12 tribes on the earth, there's 12 gateways in between. So, like I said, who's ruling it all at the top? What does it say in the Bible? God laughs. He's light. He can. What would you consider evil to be but the ignorance thereof of light and truth? And that would be Yeshua Christ. Don't worship Christ. Even Yeshua Christ said that when he was there, getting ready to, unfortunately, that makes me cry, give his life, right? But he did say, hey, I'm going to wash your feet, Peter. And Peter didn't feel good enough. He didn't feel worthy. Just like so many of us humans don't feel worthy sometimes, but God is there. God is that love. Sorry about the sloppy handwriting, but at least I make a fairly good artist. But that love is sacred. And that's something that no one can take away from us. Because even you could be in a room alone and concentrating on God and feel that love. And no one can take that away from you. No one. And it's a beautiful, beautiful, sacred moment when God's there with you and building you up, and you can feel him. You can be in a room sometimes with like 1 billion people, concert, movie, whatever. And you can feel alone inside. Because maybe nobody understands what you're going through. You know what I mean? Or what you've had to go through, right? But we do have to concentrate on the future and not always the past. So these fears, we have past, present, and future in them. And we're not to get tricked, with having to come back down here. We're supposed to go back home through Yeshua Christ. The 7 upper heavens. What did Christ come at the 7th seal and the 7th trump, and that was his number, But the Antichrist came first to fool us and to go, hey, if you remember what happened to the ancient cultures where they had the spaceships come, and everybody's like, oh, they thought that those were gods or their ancestors, and they are not. There's ones that you can say that you may, we look like or whatever. God made us all different. We're all different strokes of his artwork. But the point is, you will know, Christ even says, you'll hear his voice. And those that belong to him will know. Because Christ taught us to worship God. And that he's a son of God, and we're all sons and daughters of God. But not to go putting ourselves on high horses or anything, but to love each other and, care for the time that we're here, for the short time we're here, to grow spiritually, emotionally, concentrate on the one that did make us who we're supposed to become, right? And I think it's important for a lot of people that, here's another one of my theories. Say like the Catholic Church, right? They had, church and state weren't separated back in the day. Okay? Rome was the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church was Rome. And again, it wasn't like the government and stuff is today where, they separated. Church and state and government were all one. And when people said, well, Rome set the Library of Alexandria on fire. Where did all those books go? They didn't go up in flames. We're going to look at something here real quick. If you can see this, but it's the birth and infancy of Christ. Christ's bestowal. Well, Michael's bestowal. They say that's the name of Christ before he came here. And you people that are like, oh, don't believe in reincarnation. Okay, let me tell you this. Christ asked Who's going to come back as the two witnesses? Who's going to come back? What did Christ tell them? Christ said, right? Remember what he said. Well, I only have a certain amount of time on this, but nonetheless, look it up. Remember what he said. And know that the early childhood of Jesus Christ is in some books. Right? Huh. I'm not sure quite what's going on with this crazy lighting of this camera, but not good. So I can't really show you the book, obviously. Keeps on going crazy, but just theories here, right? Entertainment purposes only. Check it out, though. Another theory of how I would have put this is you see like the reflection of the stars and stuff on the upper heavens, and it reflects on the lower. Why would the clouds, be blue? Got water above and water below, reflecting the firmament of the heavens and the space in between. Time and space exist down here. It don't exist up in heaven at all. Now, that's not, just time travel, go where you want and come back down here and live in some, human time period. That's, Christ made that way from earth. I'm just going to call it the Rosy Cross. And say, like, people want to go to Mars. It's a reflection over here, some little red planet. That ain't going to save you. See that cross where Christ died that goes through the planet Earth? That saves you. Yeshua Christ. But he, you worship God in heaven. We say in Yeshua Christ's precious name because it's his pathway through this earth, through the 12 tribes to get you home to heaven. And the Father of all lights. And it's not to be reborn into a karmic trap in time and space. That's the reason why Christ existed here on earth, is that so you would have a way back home. Where's home? Where do all things feel most home at? Where they feel the most love. Right? Not just people, but God within them makes them feel that love. And it's not a moment, it's forever. We're a moment on earth, we're finite creatures, but we have an infinite spirit that dwells within that goes back home to God. Anyway, so that theory, no, don't take it to heart, anybody, But there's a lot more to Jesus Christ's life. There isn't enough books on the whole earth to contain all that he did and all the love he shared with the humans and all the creatures and all the life that he was here on earth. There's not enough books on earth to contain that, right? But I'll tell you this. In the Library of Alexandria, when Yeshua Christ went there and would go read the books there when Alexandria was still there before it got burned by the Romans. Or the Catholics, Roman Catholics. And what is underneath that Vatican? Everybody knows it's something. Everybody has a theory. Entertainment purposes only here now. Say there was a chained up being underneath that thing that was only held by so many chains. And they had to do a ritual every day contain that beast underneath that place. And there were books from the Library of Alexandria from the King of Solomon that were there on how to contain demons and spells, and was put there freely. Christ didn't have to do any of that. You know, he's one with God, and so should we be too, right? See, he's overcame the earth, and he said, we'll do these things and more. Well, we learn how to do those things and more through the inspiration of him walking on the water and being Peter and keeping our eyes on him and not on the waves of the world that could crash us, right? The waves of the world are temporary. The soul loving, caring moment when Christ comes is forever. And I don't mean to fly away, because I'll tell you all something you don't want to hear, and every single one of us, know that Christ said this: those that love their life shall lose it, but those that love the Lord Yeshua Christ, right? And if they take their life, not take it, but they give it to Christ, and give their life unto Christ, whether it be going to preach throughout their whole life, or starting up, or changing, being one of those people that changed right in the middle of, learning. They're like, well, I did this or that. Well, make sure we do it for God that loves us, and bring others to the kingdom. None of us are going to be perfect. God never said be perfect, but he did say have a perfect love that is of God within you. He knew we were imperfect beings when he created us. Why was there a snake in the garden? These are my questions. All those books underneath the Vatican, Library of Alexandria, and maybe there's a lot of things hidden down there that nobody can find, because those are all taken from that library and from that time period. And they didn't just burn all that knowledge. They took it, and there's miles of that knowledge underneath the Vatican. So that's just bird talk here. And, another reason why I will tell you, by the way, people and their understanding of planets and things like that. The Greek mythology taught that Mars was Greek god of war. And when you study what happened on Mars, you'll realize the red dust came from the god of war, and that was a nuked place that is way worse than Chernobyl. And I think Elon's, great, but there's just some things I agree with him doing and think is awesome, and there's some things I don't agree with, right? Don't agree with brain chips. That's a no. But I agree with, the intelligence factors, helping the kids out, making schools like he has, helping with understanding a space that, the way he's kind of doing it. But if I was him, I would do electromagnetic fields. I would train in different ways and go about it differently instead of with the old gasoline tactics, right? And you can use those electromagnetic fields for large areas of oceans and radio waves and bounce plasma. You all look that up for yourself. Nonetheless, the god of war, Mars, is a nuked area. And yes, I said worse than Chernobyl. There was no life, nobody could live there, ever again in that way. So people that go thinking they're going to run off to another planet or something like that, it's not. It's the Yeshua, the blood of Christ, who who gave his life for us, who cares about us, and who leads us through all these dimensions. The human has 11 dimensions in their mind, and the 12th, is the gate, I guess, out, of that area and out of that frame of mind, and you get closer and closer and go towards God. Now, it says Christ will come back for us, yes. But you have Christ within you, and he looks out of your eyes. God looks out of your eyes. God says, I'm with you. I'll never leave you. I'll never forsake you. And if he's over there saying that, he means it. That's why I sent Christ down here, to lead you all the way through those gates and not being trapped down here and going towards they call it the Luciferian thought process. Now, it's okay to admit your wrongs and tell people meaningfully, hey, you didn't mean to do something, or, whatever, so you guys can forgive each other, make your peace. Whether it's while they're alive or getting ready to go, however that works. And by the way, anybody out there with cancer, know to take that baking soda, put a pinch in it, make your body an alkaline environment, and keep up on your turmeric. And keep your fluids in there, right? Coconut water is a good hydration tactic. Just saying. Anyway, Christ is the one who saves the spirit. And the flesh is made from, the earth. And God said, I'll give all fruit-bearing plants and seeds and all on the earth, and all are good and all for your use. So if all for our use, right, then all is for our use. And it's not to overuse, but it's to use to have a way, I would say, you wouldn't want to take it too much of any one thing. Even the turmeric, that's good for you, right? You have to take about, I overdo it. But, everybody has a different way of doing things. If you are going to take turmeric, and make sure you take coconut oil with it so it absorbs into your body, because you need a fat with it to absorb into your body. It isn't just pepper, like a lot of people say, or cumin. So, anyway, good discussion for the day, and consider those thoughts, right? It's just just talk.